Well, we've we've decided to get double stupid. Lee and I have decided to tackle
Dumb and Dumber.
Yes.
Dumb and Dumber,
Yes.
that's cute.
I'll be dumber. We've decided to tackle not just one 29029. We've decided to do the most difficult 29029. And then 2 weeks later, we're going to go back and finish the one that I didn't finish first time.
Welcome to the enduraLAB podcast, where we explore the intersection of fitness, health, and personal growth. I'm Lee, owner and head coach here at enduraLAB, and as always, I'm joined by my co-hosts and awesome coaches, Isis and Jared. What's up, guys?
What's up, everybody?
Today, we are thrilled to have a special guest and a close friend, Matt Hiley. Matt is a business owner and author known for his bold commentary on society and his darkly comic novels, including Baseball Dads and Hubris Falls. But beyond his literary success, Matt is also a dedicated member of the enduraLAB community. Welcome to the podcast, Matt.
Thank you. You forgot the brief foray into film.
Oh, yes.
Max After Dark.
Yeah. I was actually an extra one time.
I remember. I was there.
Yeah, it was, the title was Poor White Trash. But I've been able to go above that role.
I think when I first met you, that was like something you really wanted to show me, and you had like a VHS or something.
It was DVD. I'm not that old.
I was beta.
Oh man, ready to embrace the challenge of this episode.
Yeah, so Matt, you just had to challenge yourself this morning on the trails, right?
Yes, we are building a runner right now, and we broke him.
I don't really think that we broke him as much as the trail.
The trail
broke him.
I mean, people
did you
say,
have PTSD from when you broke your toe? Were you like, holy cow?
It's probably the same spot.
Yeah, no, that was Alito. We were at Quanah today.
Oh, that's right, Quanah.
But yeah, it was, I felt bad. I heard the snap, It was nice little break, and I thought it was a tree branch. And when it's us out there running, we're like, suck it up, Buttercup. Let's go.
And this wasn't Matt. This was a friend of ours. This was
a good friend of mine, Jeff Wooten. He's training for this big trail race.
Couch to 25K.
I mean, we were doing so awesome. Yeah. Back to cold plunge.
Two crutch.
I mean, but crutches. His upper body, we're just going to get him just swole, right?
He's going to look like me when I first got to enduraLAB, all upper body and no legs.
I mean, we're building those legs, though.
Yes.
You're looking great, Matt.
Yeah, what was your nickname?
Legs O'Hiley.
That's right.
Absolutely.
So on that, let's start with your fitness journey. So, let's go through what you were doing, what brought you to enduraLAB, and what keeps you coming back.
So, I was a gym rat, like the big box gyms, Life Fitness and 24-hour fitness and all that stuff. The places that should have been shut down for germs before COVID, but somehow have disgustingly thrived. I focused on biceps and triceps and chest.
The important stuff, right, Jared?
Yeah,
of course. Yes,
just the important stuff. And
how did you know how to do that? Like you just...
We had trainers.
Oh, you did? Right? You got trainers at these places.
And, at those places, the trainers change. They're very nomadic. They change like every 2 weeks. You've got a new trainer.
High turnover.
Yes.
24 hour.
Yes. They were great. They were nice. They did not make me more fit per se. But yeah, I was just kind of a gym rat. I thought I was fit. I thought I was healthy. I had, pretty decent little belly on me. When I showed up at enduraLAB, I was probably clocking in about 215.
Fighting weight.
Yeah, a fighting weight. And of that 215, I think about 3 pounds of that was my legs. And my BFF Chris Devereaux, he passed away in 2018. He was a big endurance athlete, and there was a race that he had not completed when his cancer had come back, and I wanted to jump out and finish that race. My wife and my son actually already went to enduraLAB, but I didn't think they knew what they were talking about. LA Fitness was where it was at.
Right.
And,
The real athletes of the family were at enduraLAB.
yes. And yeah, so I wanted to train for that endurance event, and I looked up Lee on Facebook and saw that he was actually friends with my friend that passed away, and they had intersected in the endurance community, and I started training with Lee, and I realized that I was not in shape at all. I was not fit when it came to diet, cardio, anything. I mean, I couldn't run a mile.
But you could walk on that treadmill, though.
I could walk on that treadmill, and I could put my water bottle in that snot rag filled cup holder. And it was so gross. But yeah, and the rest is history. I don't know when I made a conscious decision, or if I made a conscious decision to keep coming back. I was just hooked. People there had something that I wanted. It was this really cool community, very supportive. They also give each other a lot of shit, which is fun. It makes it fun. But they're out there, people that are, younger than me, older than me, my age, out there accomplishing really cool shit that I did not think that I would be able to do. I thought there was no way that I could do any of that stuff. And here we are.
So what would you say? I mean, there's a lot of differences between the two places, but what was your biggest shift in going from that gym to enduraLAB?
The biggest shift was realizing that I could do hard things, and let's not take it there.
Yeah, we'll just skip that part. Yeah.
Low-hanging fruit. I'm not what doctors would technically consider young. I kind of thought I was in shape, like I said, but I just wasn't. The shift was realizing that I wasn't really healthy. I wasn't really fit. The people that were at enduraLAB, like I said, people that are older than me are out there like clocking these great times in these, crazy races that I did not think I had a shot in hell of being able to do. I hadn't run a 5K.
So like a mind shift change.
A complete shift. Yeah. Just the realization that it's not too late to do these things. We actually can do them.
That's
absolutely.
And now from like day one to present day, you've done some pretty hard and intense like marathons, kind of 24, 48-hour events. What have those been like? And
they're insane, but they're insane looking from the outside in. When you get into this community, there's these challenges. It keeps you fresh, it keeps you mentally tough. They've taught me about discipline, resilience, in fitness and in life. It's just crazy the things that we can do when we put in the work to train for them. It's work. It's difficult, but it's fun. It's
Absolutely.
fulfilling.
Now, you love a good medal.
Yes.
And you have quite the collection, I would say.
Yes.
Don't you hang your medals on like an antler
Yes.
or a deer?
I have a really nice deer that I shot a few years ago that I've probably got close to 50 or so medals on that thing now hanging from it.
Now, would you say that in the beginning, like it was mostly for that? I mean, it probably still is, but do you think there was a shift even in that from, like you were talking about the process and how mentally it helps you stay fresh and have grit and all those things. So for you, is it become more about that journey, or are you still kind of in it for the medals?
I love the medals. I do love my medals.
Right.
I love the bling, but it's the journey. It's the community. It's proving to yourself that you can do something really, really difficult. It's the thing where, I don't know if anybody really enjoys actually running, but people love hanging out with their friends, and they love the feeling of crossing a finish line, especially when it was a really, really challenging race. That's a great feeling. I don't know that I really love the actual run, but I do love training with friends. I mean, we always have a blast. We've always
Mm-hmm.
got the music playing. We're having a good time. We're joking, giving each other shit, and driving Jeff to the ER. You know, it's pretty fun.
I think that, when you look at these big events, which, I've had the pleasure of doing probably maybe all of them,
Yeah.
close to all of them with you, 90%, is what I like to call collective suffering, right? So almost the harder the event, the people that you train with and then accomplish that event with, the bond is so much tighter, So like if we did, obviously, if we train for like a 10K for us right now, may not be a huge challenge. And we probably wouldn't have many great stories unless someone was with us new and they broke a foot or something, right? But when we went out and trained for like, the event that we just accomplished, which was 29029 Trail, we spent so much time with each other and we did a lot of crazy events and we did a lot of crazy workouts and just the amount of volume and the shared suffering. I mean, we've got stories for the lifetime, just around that event.
Yes.
3 marathons in 3 days.
Ultra.
Yeah, that was insane.
It's
And that was one
crazy.
that I got to join in on. And, to that, it's like, for you, like it kind of gets addicting. And the
Yes.
rush you get from doing these really hard events, like, where does that leave you? I mean, soon it's like you're going to be looking for some pretty crazy things. Or, does it change for you? Or, kind of what's your thought process around your selection, I guess?
I feel like something is missing now if I'm not training for something. If I'm not pushing myself or challenging myself, something's missing. That would be the best way to explain it. And it doesn't have to be the big crazy event, but I do kind of like knowing that there's a big crazy event on the horizon somewhere.
Yeah.
And we can do the lesser crazy events on the path to the big crazy.
Yeah. So when we talk about these big events, obviously we're kind of talking what's been popularized as a Misogi,
Yes.
Right. Which is a yearly, we've kind of been doing this a year. Sometimes we throw in a
few.
handful.
Yeah.
Right. So let's dive into those challenges and Misogis for our listeners who may not know. Can you just kind of explain what a Misogi is and, how it fits into your approach into fitness?
Yes. A Misogi is an additive to ramen noodles. No.
Jared's like,
Wait,
sweet.
what?
Also known as MSG.
Yes.
No,
love
a
my
Misogi,
MSG.
it's a once a year challenge. And it's really, really difficult. It is so difficult that there is a pretty decent chance that you will not be able to finish it. There's a pretty decent chance you're going to fail. The idea is to push yourself out of your comfort zone, push your limits. For me, it's not just the physical fitness thing. It is the mental side. It's an ability to grow mentally and physically and find out what exactly you're capable of.
Something to note is that it should be very difficult, but it shouldn't kill you or
Yes.
harm you.
Right.
So that
There is
I
a
feel like that
safety,
should be said.
a safety aspect to it,
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I always wear a helmet.
That's right.
When I was looking at Misogi, I noticed that there's like 3 kind of parts to it. So the first is, I believe, let me see, I made notes. The separation. So you exit like your comfort zone or your normal safe zone, and then you go do this challenge, ideally in nature. So a hike, swim, bike, run, something like that, and you kind of battle out there. And then you go back into your comfort zone, basically re-entering after you're done with your challenge and you're an improved person. So with that being said, let's say trail, for example, what do you feel like you learned from that Misogi that when you came back kind of changed you?
So that was a really interesting race. I think we all had this similar feeling, and we've talked about it, which is we got to the end of that and we felt like we had more in the tank. We ran, 85.4 miles according to my Garmin. And
You ran
At-
more than
Yeah,
us.
you ran
Yeah.
a little bit
I
more
got
on-
lost.
on
Okay.
day one.
Yeah, that's true. Yes. But it was at altitude. These aren't just, it's not just, flat miles on the road. This is at altitude, gaining lots of elevation, lots of uphill, lots of downhill.
Insects, flying insects that
Yes,
sting.
flying
Oh my gosh.
insects.
Well,
Hornet attacks.
Hornet attacks.
Yes.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, we
Felt
all
like
got
we were
attacked
in
by hornets.
Forrest Gump when he's running, he gets shot. Or
It was a magic bullet.
Something bit me.
Something bit me on the buttocks. But yeah, it's more of that realizing what we're capable of. That blew me away that we could do 3 really difficult marathons 3 days in a row, and each day they got easier. And they really did. The marathons themselves got more difficult. But for us, because of the training, and the training including the taking care of yourself after the runs, because of all of that, you get to see how incredible the human body really is. The things that you really can do. Like I said, not too many years ago, I couldn't run a 5K, and we just did that. And that's something that not a lot of people can say they did, but if you actually apply yourself, a lot of people could do it.
Absolutely.
There.
So when doing something like that, going from 5K to 3 marathons in 3 days, how do you, obviously you're training physically by running, high volume training, but mentally, how do you prepare? What gets you in the right mindset to tackle something like that?
It's kind of a mofo. It's not just logging the miles. It's managing your recovery, sleep, it's diet. It's finding the right socks, the right anti-chafe cream. It's the right nipple protection. It's
all the gear.
The nipple protection gets you mentally there?
well,
Okay.
Yes,
Yes,
it can.
it
Because
does.
that
Okay.
could be a real drag.
I want my nipples to be as tough as me.
Okay.
Calloused.
But it's yes, calloused. It's your training is your research on all of that, and once you've done all of that training that we all did, the mental toughness, it just kind of becomes apparent through all of that. It's not like, I'm doing exercises specifically for the brain. For me, it seems like it's more a byproduct of all of the work that we put in, toughens you mentally to where when you get out there, if you would have thrown me from 6 years ago on that trail and said, run 85 miles, no way in hell. It would have been so overwhelming. But we were, a month before this race, we were all saying, God, I wish it was tomorrow.
Right.
Let's knock
Just
this
wanted to
out,
do it.
Yeah.
which is crazy.
Yeah.
And we weren't scared of it. We were not scared of this. We knew it was going to be a challenge, but it wasn't fear that we couldn't do it. So yeah, that mental toughness, it seems like it, for me, it's just a byproduct of putting in all the work. All of a sudden you see, holy shit, I can do this stuff. There's that mental toughness.
It's reps, and it's not like we haven't been to events, all of us, that we haven't been able to accomplish. So, actually feeling failure and also going through really tough events where you might be at that in the hole, or, you're really down on your luck, or you're like, I'm not going to be able to finish. And maybe somebody comes by and picks you up, or you just dig in and end up accomplishing that and knowing, okay, I did have more, right? So I always think that resilience, you just don't get it, right? You actually have to go out there and apply yourself and push yourself to a limit over and over and over again. And through those reps, you find out, oh, I can go out and do this. It's like somebody who's run 25 marathons. They don't have to go out and push the mileage as much because they know, hey, my feet are going to hurt. I've been through this. I've felt that before. I know that I'm not hurt. I know that I can keep pushing, and like a Misogi or a really tough event is something that we like clients to do. And we also like our employees to do, our
Mhm.
coaches So, like, Isis, you've done Misogis. So, like, let's share some of our Misogis as well.
It's kind of interesting thinking about this because I would have said that 29029 was a Misogi for me. But in talking in what you just said and thinking about what you just said, I knew, like, it was weird. I kind of knew that I was going to finish that event. Like, it excited me. And then I'd be like, oh shit, like, can I do this for a second? So it kind of scared me. But as we trained, I was like, no, I've got this. This is going to be great. We're about to go run in one of my favorite cities in the US. And so, but what's interesting is that my Misogi for this coming year, actually, I might die. So that to me is a true Misogi because it's the 29029 Aspen, which is a climb. You climb vertically. What is it's like 9 ascents. You cover how much?
29,029
29.
feet.
Right, but each one is like
Oh, well, these will be a
vertical.
little over 3,000 apiece.
And that is going to be so different than the trail running that we've been doing. So like before we did the 29029 trail event, I had run a 50K. I was running on the trails. Like that was kind of comfort zone-ish. And so, yeah, like I'm going to take my comfort zone and throw in a lot more volume. I get it. I sound crazy. Like that should scare the shit out of people. Okay. But this one with the mountain, I was like, I'll never do a mountain. But I surround myself with people that are just as crazy. And next thing you know, I want to do it. And it really is one of those things that I'm excited to train for. I don't train in this way. It's going to be completely out of my comfort zone. So that to me is a true Misogi. I think you really, you can set big goals for yourself, but in the Misogi sense, it's something that totally takes you out of your comfort zone. Again, you have a failure point. You could fail that. I could fail this, and then working towards it. I mean, unfortunately, it's like I have the most amazing gym and training and all of this stuff at my disposal. So like the success rate is going to be way high, which is great. So to pick a Misogi is challenging. And so there's some bad Misogis out there. You can't just be like, oh, I'm going to go run, unless you've never run before. There's goals and there's Misogis.
Absolutely.
So I would say I haven't had a real one yet, but one's on its way.
We talk about my Misogi. I'm gonna have to say, from my experience, the 4x4x48 is probably the most difficult one so far. Just because we had to wake up every 4 hours, run 4 miles for 2 days straight. So I think one of the times was like 2 a.m. We had to wake up, go run 4 miles. I'm like, by myself or without doing that challenge, I would probably never do that because I like my sleep. But then you have everybody going there. Okay, they're going. I can't stay in my sleeping bag, and they're all gonna look at me and do that. So it was cool to challenge myself, wake up in these random times, and go run.
Yep.
'Cause I don't do much cardio. So
And the group,
Perfect.
it pushes. And for those of you looking for a 4x4x48, we are doing it again in 2025. It's always one of my favorite
April.
events.
it
Yeah.
is a
4th.
lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
When April 4th falls on a Friday, I mean, what can you do?
You have to do it.
You have to.
Absolutely. I think probably my toughest, like the biggest Misogi that I was definitely the most underprepared for was 29029 Marathon. And I know Isis is looking over there because we've said, the mountain is a tough event because obviously we live in Texas. It's very flat, finding elevation. We did so many step ups. And me thinking about what that event was like, I would have completely changed our training after experiencing it.
I'm so glad you have experience now.
I remember driving up to the mountain and we're just looking at it and we had made some jokes about, well, when it flattens out, I think you said you were going to
Run the flats.
run the flats. Yeah. There was no flats.
No
It's
flats.
just constant uphill the entire time. Ride a gondola down, take a right, go back up the mountain. So that one for me was probably one of the toughest, I think. 50-mile ruck the first time we did it with a group. That was very difficult. But I would definitely have to say the mountain. And this year, we're going to, we'll talk about it later, but we're going to knock out 2 of them within 1 month. So, I mean, why not push it?
It's always going up.
That was
in
my
intensity.
first Misogi was that first 29.029, and I failed.
And that's what brought you kind of
Oh yeah,
into enduraLAB.
and that teaches you a whole hell of a lot when you. I mean, I was mathematically eliminated. I was not going to be able to finish it, and the brain just kind of starts taking you down. Okay, here's your reason to quit. Here's your reason to quit, and I've never been so pissed off about something, and that gives you the mental toughness going forward.
And then
I
you
I
did it
never
again.
and then I
And
did it
then you're
again,
going to do it again.
and now I'm gonna do it 2 more times, 2 weeks apart.
Yeah, I think the video that you recorded near the end of 29.029 when you're texting all your buddies about how stupid that event was and how stupid it still is. And now the fun thing is we'll get to make 2 more of those videos
Yes,
probably.
might have been a couple of F-bombs in there. It was
Just a
not a
few.
family-friendly video at all.
So, I mean, do you think that everyone should try a Misogi, in your opinion?
Absolutely. If you don't challenge yourself, how do you know what you can do? How, unless you push yourself, I look at the things that used to make me say, I can't, I can't, I can't. And I take a much harder look at those things now because all these physical things, I failed at that first one. And then we did our big Austin Rattler mountain bike thing. I was mathematically eliminated again. I
We
failed
gotta-
at that one.
Are we going to go back and do that one?
We probably have to.
I think so.
Although I really hate mountain bike teams, like the teams that we were up against, like these teams of 20-year-olds that would like throw a hard shoulder and
The
throw me into the
semi-pros.
trees. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were
The
pros.
semi-pros, they were.
Yeah, if I come back, I'm bringing a club and I beat the hell out of every one of them.
I wonder if you could put like, something on your tires that stick out a little bit
Yes.
wider,
That would be awesome.
I think that, I remember when we ran Bandera and it was pouring and we're all sitting in the lobby. And I think it would have just taken one person to say, I quit. I'm not going to do this. And probably the whole group would have folded, but no one said it.
Yep.
You're always kind of waiting for that one person, like who's going to fold, and nobody did. And that was an awesome experience. And it's probably one of the worst weather during any event that I've ever done. And we all went out, completed it. And like the stories from that, like I said, the harder it is, the more stories there are.
And I'll be back there in 3.5 weeks.
That's right. Minus one runner.
-1.
And like to the point, I think that you said, Matt, is like you just have to get out of your comfort zone. And I think earlier I said like, it can't be something like small, but you're small and someone else's small is different. So I think it goes back to like, don't measure yourself against anyone else. Like, where are you at? Where do you want to go? And like Matt said, push yourself just slightly out of that comfort zone.
Yeah. So let's talk about, how can we plan and execute a Misogi? So for our listeners who might want to try one, where do you think they should start? Matt, what's the first step?
Something that scares you and excites you, something a little out of your limits. I remember I did the Cowtown half marathon really, really early on, and just how crazy that sounded, and how, everybody, like my kids, everybody, that was not in the fitness community that I would talk to would be like, "You're insane, 13 miles. Wow." And that's how I was. It was crazy. But that's all things considered, for some people, it may be a 10K. I don't think a 5K would really be a Misogi for anyone, but it could be a long hike, could be a swim, a 12-hour walk. I remember the first time I hit 10 miles on a treadmill was just insane. But yeah, start with something small. If you want to go run a marathon at some point, challenge yourself to a half marathon and put in the work, and you'll be surprised at what you can do if you put in the work.
Yeah. I mean, I think that kind of goes along. Maybe your marathon is a Misogi and we're putting reps in along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, because preparation is key. I mean, you want to be safe for this. You don't want to injure yourself, poor Jeff.
Yeah, it's
and
like you don't want to go out into the middle of a adventure race and not know how to orienteer yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes. I might have done that.
be mentally ready, prepare for your misogi.
Yep. Physical preparation and also mental preparation. So just go into it knowing if you don't succeed, it's not the end of the world. And then you might have some newfound motivation to try it again, train harder, then go into it with a better mindset. So there's no really risk in attempting a Misogi.
I love that.
Worst case, you fail, try it again.
Yeah, and I
that's
think
totally how I feel about next year.
that, you know, there are a lot of people that will tell you to get a goal and then tell everybody. But I don't know
Don't
if
tell
that.
me not to post on social media.
Oh my gosh, I'm just saying.
That
you
is
know,
my journal. That is how I express myself.
I mean, it's how people keep up with us for sure. Like, if you want to know something happened, just watch ISIS and you'll find out. But I do encourage you to keep this personal. You know, this isn't about social media or external validation. It's about you and your growth. You know, Matt, your first Misogi was for a friend.
Yeah.
That's super personal. It didn't really matter, posting on social media or anything like that, right? You're doing it for that reason, and that still fuels you.
Yes.
But I agree with that. And there are points that I do keep personal and private. Like not every training went on, but honestly, like I love when people share that stuff because it's inspiring to me. Like the fact that Matt shared his story about why he's doing it, or when every time he crosses the finish line, he's like posting his medals. Like that is so, it's not necessarily for validation. I think it's for just like showing the journey, and I think there's a lot to be said to that.
No,
So
I
I
mean-
like that you do that.
And we own a business, right? So it is important that we share stories like that. So we are a little bit more
I would say if
putting
it
ourselves
brings you
out there.
joy, as long as, because definitely there's negative things to social media. So,
Oh,
and
yeah.
yeah, we all know those things. But
Just
I
keep
think
it healthy. Make
keep it
sure
healthy,
it's
yeah.
mentally healthy, just like Jared said. This is about
Exactly.
mental health. So,
So
Bring
if
up politics, bring up social
Absolutely.
issues, things like that. Yeah.
it's very important what
Yeah.
you should and shouldn't be eating.
Right.
Just get your opinion out there. People
Yeah.
will love it.
But I think it's encouraging. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna
and
leave
I
it
would
at
say
that.
that I learned as much from failing the first time as I did from doing 3 marathons in 3 days. That initial failure really did fuel so much beyond that.
Absolutely. I mean, failure is a chance to learn, right?
Yes.
So those, looking to join a gym or take on a challenge, right? What made enduraLAB the right fit for you looking at 29029?
Like I said, it was the people that had something that I wanted. This was a community of people that they supported people so much. It was the coaches for sure, the ownership, the coaches, but the community. That old saying, a waterfall starts with one drop. It just grows. The more people start believing in, hey, we can do this. We can do this. It's kind of like when, we've talked about before the Ruck Marathon, the Dallas Ruck Marathon. There were 99% of people that were in that group probably had never done a marathon before. And now we're going to carry weight and do a marathon. Nobody was in their right mind in that group would have gone out and signed up for that on their own. But you said, I can train you guys and we can do this. And everybody bought in, everybody believed it, and everybody crossed the finish line, and we won
Yeah,
the Ruck
I think
Marathon.
That was
what,
amazing.
15 or 20 people, and we were the first 15 or 20 people across. I mean,
We freaking won. And the support that came with that, when you're carrying weight, people would be having a tough time. So somebody else would carry their weight for them for a little bit. They would hand things off, and we supported each other, and we got each other across that finish line. It's such a cool thing. You don't get that at LA Fitness. You ask
Man.
somebody to hold a weight for you at LA Fitness and watch how fast they tell you to F yourself. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's insane. It's a group of people that had what I wanted. Go find a group of people that have what you want when it comes to accomplishing things. If you want to live that sedentary lifestyle and lay on your couch, this is not the group of people for you, unless you want to be harassed the whole time, because we would probably do that.
Possibly.
Possibly.
Possibly, yeah. Like, where are you at kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because we want you there, right?
And they support you. It's not just the training. It's the other stuff that we talked about. It's the recovery. It's nutrition. It's sleep. It's all these things that you don't hear about at LA Fitness. They don't tell you any of that stuff. And I would bet that nobody that I ran into at LA Fitness has run 3 marathons in 3 days, or has done a 4x4x48, or has, run multiple really hard races. I bet a lot of those people have never heard of Misogis before.
Yeah.
And it's so much more fulfilling when you have the community to accomplish that with. You have the knowledge. This isn't just someone pulling information out of their ass, doing a trend of the week, a diet of the week. It's nothing of the week. It's the science. It's the real science of it. It's people who are constantly researching and showing you, no, you can do it. Here's how. And you don't have to feel terrible at the end of it. Here's how.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that early on in my kind of fitness career, I was able to train under some really cool coaches. And one of the big things was there's no group fitness kind of model that you can go into and you get better at everything, right? So like the mom, the NBA player, the high school football guy, they can't use all the same program. And when people would come into that gym and have a goal, those guys are researchers too, and they would look at, hey, even position wise, like if I come in, I'm on the offensive line, like what do NFL, what's the best offensive lineman? What's their build? What's their size? What are they lifting? What's their, 40 time? And they would develop a program around that. You think about the people who come into enduraLAB and the variety of goals. It's really cool. And it's something for us as owners and coaches that we take pride in, the ability to look at individuals and really train them as individuals for goals. So, whether or not we have a lot of people in like longevity. So we have like 60 plus age group and they are kicking it. We've got high schoolers that we've developed into D1 athletes. We have Olympians training with us, professional athletes. We've got a family that has 3 generations that all train at enduraLAB. So you think about the variety of that, like all the marketing gurus, they, when we talk to them, they're like, hey, develop your marketing for one person, like a 30 to 35-year-old female who's at home, who just had kids, and then develop all your marketing around. I'm like, we don't have that. We don't have just one group pigeonholed in that. We have this huge variety, but we love that, no matter what your goal is, no matter where you're starting at, the ability to come into the doors of enduraLAB and train, that's something that we pride ourselves on.
That has been really cool to see. You've got middle school golfers. You've got people in their 60s that are about to go on a 5-day hunt where they have to carry all of their equipment. And everything in between. It's insane to watch all of those different programs and to see, like you said, it is not a cookie cutter approach to any of them. And like when we do 29-0-29, it's just such a different beast than anything else.
That's what I was going to say, is that eyes looking towards you would probably say the same. I mean, Matt's not giving himself credit, but he's in the gym every day. We're working strength. And then outside of that, we're running or doing whatever we're training for. So what is your big goal in 2025?
Well, we've we've decided to get double stupid. Lee and I have decided to tackle
Dumb and Dumber.
Yes.
Dumb and Dumber,
yes.
that's cute.
I'll be dumber. We've decided to tackle not just one 29029. We've decided to do the most difficult 29029. And then 2 weeks later, we're going to go back and finish the one that I didn't finish first time.
I found out it was actually 3 weeks, so it's not that tough.
Oh,
Just, you know,
that's nothing.
2 in 1 month.
That's
no
easy.
problem.
Yeah.
I mean, we're trained up for the first one.
Yeah.
We'll recover and then
Yeah.
go back again.
We're
Seems
climbing
Now, Matt,
Everest
have you
twice.
always been known as a super athletic? Like, 'cause, like, tell me a little about that. Because, like, now I would say, like, if someone was just seeing you right now, they'd be like, oh my gosh, he's working out every day. He runs all the time. He carries his water bottle with him. Like, this guy is fit.
No. I think it's,
Like, did you play sports in high school? And
I didn't make
College?
many teams.
Okay.
I was 6 foot, 117 pounds when I graduated high school. Same height, 134 when I graduated college. When I got my driver's license, I was 5'4". I entered high school under 100 pounds. I was not making many teams. I ran a little track, played a little golf. I was a skateboarder, did some mountain climbing stuff right out of high school. But really, you know, I did do cross country and was alarmingly not fast.
which
But-
is funny because you're pretty fast.
Well, that's what's wild is I've had friends from high school that are just shocked that this is me because they knew me back then as I wasn't making a team. I infamously did not make the basketball team because I've still to this day only played basketball one time in my entire life, but I tried out for the team and I didn't dribble. I carried the ball like a running back. And that was just too much for the coaches. They were like,
Get this
we can't
guy
do
off
anything with
the
this.
hope.
court.
That's
Yeah.
awesome, man.
I was a PE kid. I got great at dodgeball, but
Which is
that
so
was
much
it.
fun. I wish that was a.
I'm telling you, I loved dodgeball. I'm a pretty badass dodgeball player, but that was the only sport that I could really say that I excelled at because it was the only one that I got to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was not
A
an
true
athlete,
athlete.
which is one of the really cool things about this, to get to age 50 and you get to show up at the high school reunion and, you know,
And you're the ultra runner. Like,
and I'm
yeah.
now, you know, not that, you know, the football players aren't all still in shape. They're not, but
But now you're the athlete.
but now I'm the
You
athlete.
are the athlete.
And it's wild to be in that position.
And to your point earlier, you're like, I can't imagine not training for something. So it's
Yeah.
not even that like you're an athlete, but like that is your lifestyle now.
yes.
Your lifestyle now is one that is very active and searching for those activities that allow you to show your skills now.
Yeah, and it's so it really is very fulfilling to have that mindset now. It is so addictive to immediately after the last race. I mean, what was the first thing that we were saying? What are we going to do next?
Like a week after.
Yeah.
Even though
Yeah.
I cried.
Yeah, it's
The
just
last
like,
one, I was like, nope.
don't
no
talk
more
to me
trails.
about it no more. And then all of a sudden, 29020 does a great job at marketing. They
Yes,
send
they
out this
do.
exclusive event, and ISIS is like, okay.
Exclusivity wins.
Yes. Yes.
But I mean, there's also some really big events that you have. Let's,
Your
you know,
eye
maybe
on,
not
yeah.
2025.
We want to do C2C. That's one.
Yeah,
that
we
we
got to
wanna
get
do.
we got to go back and get that one.
So
We
is
gotta
that
go
like
back and get
just like coast to coast?
That's 3-day adventure race. I guess we have 3 days.
Yes.
Unsupported, no GPS. We make it from the Gulf to the Atlantic.
The Gulf
in
side to
Florida.
the Atlantic. You're crossing the state of Florida.
Okay.
You have 3 days to make it across Florida, running, mountain biking, and
Canoeing.
kayaking.
Oh, yeah.
Canoeing.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, we
Okay.
got the canoe.
And no GPS. I mean, you don't get your phone.
Okay.
It's crazy. It's all topographical maps.
Yeah.
And I'm really good with directions.
He's
so
super good.
I'm going to
If
end
you
up
guys,
in Maine.
for those people who have ran with Matt, they know how good you are with.
Yes. I
And
get
Orienteering
lost
that's why you
one
had
yourself.
time.
extra mileage for 29 and 29.
Yes.
Okay, so C2C. What else?
Gosh, we've got the one that we want to do across the Smokies. You know,
How about the World Marathon?
Mhm.
the World Marathon Challenge. So, yes, that was my buddy that passed away. That was the one that he had begun training for when his cancer came back. And at the time that he had to quit 29:029, a little over halfway through. Yeah, the World Marathon Challenge, I think, Lee and I had talked about it when we went into the 3 marathons in 3 days. We had talked about it before, just kind of kicking it around. That just sounds stupid. That sounds crazy. But, if we did this and we felt okay at the end of it, we might consider it. And I think
So you basically run a marathon, hop on a plane, or do a marathon.
7
hop on a plane.
marathons in 7 continents in 7 days.
Yeah, so every day you're in some.
Every day you're running a marathon on a different continent, and that includes landing in a military plane on Antarctica and running a marathon in Antarctica.
Yeah. I mean,
that's a good one right there.
insane.
I saw that. I think someone sent us a video of a pretty young kid finishing.
Yes.
I can't remember how old he was, and he's just breaking down at the very end
Yes.
of the 7 days. I'm like,
Suck it up, kid.
yeah, come on, let's go. He's probably picking his next race now.
Yes. Yeah.
Sounds
Jared,
like
do
a
you
badass challenge.
do you have something you want to do in the new year?
So I'm kind of brainstorming with this podcast coming up. I think a true Misogi for me is something I have to do solo, because I can kind of, if I'm in a group, I can use, the people I'm participating with. Like, okay, can't let them down, or they might, fall with me, or, I gotta stay strong. So for something that I was thinking is like a cold plunge every day for a month. And I think that would be pretty difficult for me. Or I go for like 200 muscle ups in an hour or something like that. Just really getting down, mentally challenging. My body's starting to break down. And I'm going through it alone.
Yeah, remember we did that 24-hour event, and we had a client or an athlete of enduraLAB. He did as many pull-ups as he could do.
It was the
Oh.
David Goggins
Yes.
pull-up challenge.
Oh my gosh.
It was so many per
well,
hour.
he chose that.
Oh, okay. But he was just trying to get as many as he could in 24 hours.
So he was definitely he embraced the Misogi, and so he gave himself a goal.
Okay.
I'm going to do this. And it was like every so many minutes.
And he
Like it was
failed.
hard for him to even eat.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just remember the hands swelling.
Yeah.
Like crab
You know,
claws.
there's things that you get into when you're in a Misogi, or you're pushing yourself to a point where you never have. Things are going to pop up, and
Mhm.
it's how do I deal with it?
Yeah.
So like he was icing his hands in the cold plunge, and luckily, we had a lot of people there, and so we can kind of help out in that kind of situation. But pretty crazy.
It was insane. He was going all night, no sleeping, just pull-ups every minute.
Yeah.
All night.
There's one coming up, I think that would be fun, in the next couple of weeks, 24-hour row challenge.
Oh, yeah, that would definitely be.
How
up
many
Misogi
meters
for me.
can you row? And you can have up to a team of 4. I think I'm just going to do it. Why not?
Yeah, man.
Be a good one.
When is
Yeah.
it?
I think we have to finish it before January, like 4th or 5th or something like that.
And it's a 24-hour row.
24 hours.
Okay.
So if someone is rowing constantly for 24 hours, we just switch off.
I mean, you don't have to, I guess. You could.
Wait, it's a team?
But it's how many can you get? Yeah, you can have up to a team of 4.
Okay.
you could do-
Oh, I see.
You could do 1,
But Jared has to do
2,
it
3, or
on
4.
his own outside.
Yeah, like away from us. You can't be with us. Sorry, Jared.
Yeah,
You want to
Okay,
be
I'll
alone.
Be excluded.
Since
from
you
the
want to
group.
be alone.
I just
You
think that'd
said
be the
it.
most challenging for me is to.
We'll put you in the.
I
We'll
tell
take the
you-
massage bed out.
And I'm just in that room.
And we'll just put you in that room.
Just rowing.
Oh yeah.
Lock the door, barricade me in there.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't get out. We'll tie the door to the bathroom door, and then you won't be able to get out.
It's
Yeah,
just a day. I'll survive.
24 hours. You can do it. We'll put food and water in there for you.
Of course.
Get an
We're
IV.
not savage.
Yeah.
And that IV. That saved me.
Oh, yeah. 29. Well, Matt, I think we'll wrap it up, but it has been awesome having you on the podcast. I think others find your story as well as we do. Truly inspiring. Obviously, it's been awesome to have you every day. Like Matt is somebody I see every day, basically, or I get many texts from Matt every day. So
We can't talk about those.
no, not all of those.
Well, thank you. It has been it's been really cool to share this journey with all you guys, and with
Thanks
you
for letting us be a
individually
part
here.
of it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you for letting me
Seriously.
be a part of this. It's been awesome. It's the greatest the greatest thing. It really is.
All right, before we sign off, let's share a piece of advice for tackling the holidays. Maybe something that you learned during your Misogis that'll help the people get through. I know for me, if I can survive 3 marathons in 3 days, the stress of that, I can survive the stress of the holidays. I'm more mentally tough than I give myself credit for. So that's something that my Misogis have taught me.
I would say mine is just keep moving. Just keep, whether fast or slow, instead of staying at like the base of the mountain looking at it like, oh, I gotta climb that. Just start the climb, get through it.
One step at a time,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
I think mine's don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone, right? We know that's where growth happens. So get uncomfortable. Comfort's a slow death.
Comfort is a slow death. Yeah, and I would say find a community like enduraLAB. Find the people that have what you want and people that are going to hold you accountable and inspire you. Join them, learn from them, and you just will not ever regret that.
Perfect. Well, thanks again, Matt. And thanks for all our listeners for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and comment or let us know your thoughts. Until next time, stay strong and keep moving.
Keep challenging yourself.
Let's go.
Bye.
Peace.